There is a lot of skins, specifically knives in CS2, but which ones are the best investments over the long term? Well, today, let's cover it, and good news for you, it's some good looking knives. So let's start with Karambits. Just looking over the past 60 days, we could see there's some with incredible uptrends, but it is very different between all of them. But overall, it's just a very consistently good knife, even after a lot of the hype retraced. Pretty much every single one, except some really specific ones, are up. One thing you should note with knives is you kind of want to stay away from the StatTrak ones. They're harder to sell, they're more inconsistent in price, and they're just weird. They're just a pain in the ass. You don't really want to touch StatTrak knives. You could see like hundreds of dollars of difference, especially when it comes to the more expensive ones between a StatTrak and a non-StatTrak. But for Karambits, they're extremely consistent. Gamma Dopplers and regular Dopplers, I should say, have done extremely well too, along with just phase twos, for example. But one consistent thing about these knives is even the cheaper ones perform incredibly well over the long term. We'll look at the Karambit Rust Coat, for example. Over the past 2 years, hit lows of like $400, even lower, $370 actually, and now it's at $900 for a Rust Coat. Could you imagine this when they were back below $200? It seems so unbelievable. But some of the strongest charts in the game, and I still think they could get more expensive over the long term. If the Gamma Dopplers, the fades, the marble fades, and all that continue to get more expensive, people will be fine paying, really solid money for even Rust Coat skins because of how expensive the more expensive skins are. That was kind of redundant, but you get the point.
This video is sponsored by Skins Monkey. If you've been looking to trade out your old boring skins for new ones, Skins Monkey is the place. By clicking the link in the description, you'll get a 35% deposit bonus when depositing with cash and crypto, and up to a free $5 bonus on your first trade. So be sure to click that link. Skins Monkey also has the freebies tab where they run 24/7 giveaways that are completely free to join with crazy skins. And if you're looking to actually get your hands on some good skins, Skins Monkey is the quickest way to do it. So be sure to get that free $5 and 35% deposit bonus now, trading your CSGO skins with that link at the top of the description.
Now, let's look at some butterfly knives as well. This is just a butterfly forest DD pad. You could look at the Boreal Forest, the Rust Coat, anything like that. Actually, not the Rust Coat, and I'll get into why in a sec. They're a bit different. But any of the old skins that are in the OG cases, like the Phoenix case, these aren't in the Phoenix case, sorry. Like the Breakout case, for example, which has all the OG butterfly knife skins. Of course, it's a butterfly knife only case. And that case has gotten to be like $12. So obviously, why would you unbox a $12 case and risk thousands of dollars trying to pull a knife when you could just buy one? Even though $800, $900 seems like a ridiculous price for this thing, it makes sense because of how expensive the cases are. And if the Breakout case continues to get more expensive, and definitely has room to grow because the glove case is like 18 bucks, so it's not too shocking to see this thing at 12, these could get more expensive as well. It's all completely dependent on the case market, and if cases are expensive, people aren't going to spend a ton of money unboxing them. They're just going to buy the knife, which is good for us. Now, touching on what I talked about a bit earlier, and how newer knives and knives that aren't in the OG cases that aren't dropped anymore, they could have a bit of different price trends. So this is a butterfly lore. It is in the Dreams and... where did I put it? It's in the Dreams and Nightmares case, and of course the Riptide case as well, which is not an active drop. But the Dreams and Nightmares case is, despite the fact that it's like $2.20, which is a lot for an active drop case. It is the most expensive one. It is still in the active drop pool, which kind of makes price a bit more funky. As you can see, it's not at all-time highs like the Butterfly Forest DD Pad is, and until the Dreams and Nightmares case gets removed from the game, it's very possible we don't see this thing blow up, because I mean, yeah, it's just, there's supply still coming in, and there's a lot of supply coming in. People love the Dreams and Nightmares case. There's so many good knives in it. You could, like the Butterfly Lore in Battle Scarred is the one I'm looking at here, and it's still surprisingly one of the cheaper butterflies in that case. But like, we could look at some of the other butterfly knives in the Dreams and Nightmares case, and we could see the Emerald is in this case, which of course means all the Gamma Dopplers are as well. Got stuff like the Autotronic, the Freehand as well. So let's look at the Butterfly Autotronic. A lot of those Gamma Dopplers have performed exceptionally well despite being in an active drop case, simply because of how much demand that thing has. But for me personally, we'll just look at the field tested Autotronic here. Let's scroll down. It actually is at all-time high, so it does have a lot of demand. But for these skins to keep running higher and higher when they're in a $2 case, doesn't really make that much sense to me. I would rather just buy a knife that's in the breakout case, for example. Same goes with the Karambits as well. I would stick with stuff that's not actively in the game right now if you want something cheaper and something to hold for the long term. With all the hype spikes in the Gamma Dopplers and everything right now, I wouldn't be buying them unless they retrace to pre-hype levels. This is something I've covered in a million videos, but I guess I could cover it again really quickly. Karambit Doppler, let's look at the Gamma Doppler. Let's look at the Phase 2, why not? Pretty much the most hyped skin out of all of them. We could see this thing is losing demand quickly. This is not a level you want to buy at. It seems like people are still slowly taking profits on these things, and there is a lot of room for them to drop. If they get back down to like $4 grand, you could consider buying them. But these, for example, are in the Gamma cases. Gamma cases are like $5, so this is still really expensive when you could potentially unbox it in a $5 case. Like, these are still getting unboxed. I don't know if I want to say daily, but very consistently. So it's kind of risky to buy into something like that right now, unless it really retraces back to a much lower level, and that lower level is at thousands of dollars lower, so you got to be careful there. Now, what about much cheaper knives? I had the gut knife up. I guess I put it away, but I'll go look that up too. The thing about these cheaper knives is they don't really have a lot of demand, unfortunately. You could see over the past 60 days, some of the skins are up, but Marble Fades, not really. Tiger Tooth, nope. Rust Coat, not even up, only $120 for this thing. These knives simply just don't have a lot of demand. And in this market, you don't really want to try and nitpick with stuff that doesn't have a lot of demand because it never really blows up in price. It's just consistently not great, not a great investment. You should stick with the stuff that's good. The Karambits, the butterfly knives, what else? You got M9 Dopplers, M9 bayonets as well. Pretty much just any hype knife in the game that looks good, because we could check like the classic knife as well, the flip knife. Even the bayonet doesn't have that much demand, so there's a lot of knives in the game that don't really move in price. Even though the CS20 case has pretty much doubled in price since the beginning of this year, the knives don't really have that much to show for it, unfortunately. I think the classic knife is actually half decent. I'm surprised it's still this cheap, especially with how expensive the case is getting, but still, it doesn't have a lot of demand, so it's not a great knife to invest into. Stick with the stuff that's good. Stick with the stuff that people like. Don't try and get nitpicky. The stuff that performs well probably will continue to as long as the cases get more expensive. So that's going to wrap it up for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out the sponsor, link at the top of the description. See you guys in the next one. Peace.